beer bread, anyone? Because we're using beer to your beer bread. Isn't that awesome? The perfect crumb. So I discovered my new obsession, beer bread. If you haven't made beer bread before, you just have to make it because it only takes an hour to make homemade bread. You can't beat that. And let's talk a little bit about the taste. The taste is amazing. It's kind of malty, it's very rich, and the texture is a little bit more dense than regular bread, but in the best way possible. And the top gets nice and crusty. This is homemade bread in 1 hour. You can't beat this recipe. So let's get started. It all starts with some whole wheat flour. You can use regular flour if you want, but I really like whole wheat mixed with the beer. It just adds a really nice richness. And to that, we only have a few ingredients. I'm telling you, it takes like 15 minutes to prep this. So I have some baking powder, and the baking powder is going to not only help your beer bread rise, but it's also going to make sure that your beer bread isn't too dense. It's gonna make it nice and fluffy. And then I have some salt. And you really want salt in any bread that you make. You need that flavor. Okay, so after all the ingredients are whisked together, then you're going to take some honey and you're going to add the honey right into your dry ingredients. And there's a reason why you want to add sugar to your bread. Any guesses why? Because we're using beer. You want to add sweetness or sugar to your beer bread because there's yeast in beer, and in order to activate the yeast, you need sugar. Isn't that crazy? So you're gonna add your favorite beer right into this mixture, and then you're gonna use your whisk, or if I was smart, I would have used a regular spoon. Now I have a disaster. And you're just gonna mix together all of your ingredients and get all that mixture off of your whisk. It's amazing how much of a dough this beer made. Isn't that awesome? It looks like almost like pizza dough, and it smells like beer though. I really want a beer now. So I'm going to take a greased loaf pan, and I'm going to add all the dough right into the pan. So you want to take a spoon and just make sure that the dough is nice and evenly dispersed and isn't clumping right in the center. So I'm gonna give my pan a final shake just to make sure everything's evened out. And I'm gonna let this rest on the counter for about 10 to 15 minutes. This is not letting your dough rise or anything, but the resting of all the ingredients together really helps when you cook it off. So I'll see you in about 10. So it's been 15 minutes of smelling bread. The smell of dough is so yummy. I have just a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon of melted salted butter, and I'm just going to brush the top of it. You don't need to do this, but I find that it adds a nice little richness. It soaks into the bread as it cooks, and it also will make the top of your bread a little bit more crusty. So I'm going to finish brushing the top of my bread with butter, and then I'm gonna place this guy in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 to 45 minutes until a tester comes out with just loose crumbs on it or clean. Boop, already cut. I couldn't wait. I've been like nibbling on a little piece of bread. So I'm just gonna have to try it again though, just for show. Look at how beautiful this bread is. It has the perfect crumb. It's dense, but it's also nice and, I don't know, like a biscuit texture in a way. It has that malty, rich molasses taste with a little butter on that. We're talking. Check this out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it. I'm making beer bread, woo! It's going to be fun.